Hello and welcome. My name is Rob Cuesta, and I want to congratulate you on getting this far. Now, before we go any further, I want to talk to you about what's next, because as I speak to people in our industry, I find them in one of a number of positions. Either they just aren't aware of the need to write a book, or they don't think they need to write one, they don't think they've got the time, or they don't think they've got the skills, and that's one conversation that we can have with them. Another conversation is the people who are in the process of writing their book, and that might be you right now. You know you need a book, you know it will help you to grow your business, but you're not sure what you're going to do with it once you've published it, in which case you're in exactly the right place. And the other group of people, of course, have published a book and they're wondering, okay, now how do I use it? So if that's you, you're also in the right place, which is why this webinar is called So You Published a Book, Now What? How to use your book to get noticed, close deals, and make more money. Because ultimately that's what this is all about. Now, I don't want to spend too long on this, but I thought it would be useful to share a little bit about me. So my name, as I said, is Rob Cuesta, and I'm an expert in client generation for professionals. I've dedicated myself to helping coaches, speakers, consultants, people who sell what they know and what they do, helping them to get clients. And I'm passionate about helping people like that to turn their knowledge, their experience, and their expertise into highly profitable businesses by turning them into what I like to call the natural expert, the person that everybody wants to work with, whatever it takes, however much it costs, and regardless of the competition. Now that's taken me in a very particular direction, and these days I'm very proud to say that I am the CEO of Bright Flame Books. I've actually been helping clients to create books for a very long time, and as part of our marketing services, and I realized that that was the biggest impact that we could have for our clients, was helping them to create their book. And so we set up Bright Flame Books specifically with that in mind. It's a different kind of publishing company. Most publishing companies make their money by taking $1 or $2 on every book that you sell and giving you 50 cents. We don't care about that. We don't care if you never sell a copy of your book. We'd much rather you gave away 100,000 copies of it than sold 500. Because the money isn't in the sales of the book, it's in what you do afterwards, which is really what this whole webinar is going to be about. It's what do you do once somebody has your book. Now, personally, I'm a 6 times international #1 best-selling author, and I started my business back in 2002. And that should tell you a little bit about me for a start, because if you know anything about small businesses, you know that businesses typically take a few years to even get profitable, and by the end of the first 10 years, something like 90 to 95% of companies have gone out of business. Well, we're going strong, we're growing year on year, and we've been going for over 15 years, and we're getting close to 20 years now. And in that time, I've built a truly global business. I have clients everywhere in the world. And I like to describe it as being from Seattle, Washington in the west to Shanghai, China in the east, and Stockholm, Sweden in the north to Sydney, Australia in the south. In other words, our clients are all over the world. Put a map of the world in front of you and I'll be able to point to clients on every single continent. More importantly than me, though, is my clients. So our clients at Bright Flame Books are using their books to launch new careers. They're using them to get featured in TV documentaries. They're using them to get celebrity clients, to get booked as keynote speakers, to be interviewed by the media. And most importantly of all, they're using them to radically increase their revenue, because ultimately that is what this whole exercise is about. It's about, how do I make more money from my book? And what about you? Because you're the other critical piece of this. Well, remember when they told you that if you just wrote a book, you'd be rich and famous and that you'd have a stream of people wanting to work with you? So you wrote your book, and now you're wondering, where are the clients and where's my money? And that's a position I increasingly find people in. They've bought into the idea that if you write a book, you will be positioned at the top of your industry and people will come and find you. But they haven't been given any guidance on how to actually make that happen. And that's what this whole webinar is about, and a program that I'll tell you about later called How Experts Get Clients, the Author Expert Insider Mastermind. Now, I have a number of intentions for our time together today. The first is that I'm going to share actionable strategies with you, not fluff. Everything that I'm sharing with you, you can take away and put into action in your business. And I'm going to share with you 6 simple ways that you can use your book to boost your income. Then, with your permission, I'll take a few minutes to share a special opportunity for us to work together. And then once I've done that, I'll come back and I'll give you a 7th strategy, which is the strategy that I used personally to make $16,000 over lunch at a conference. So let me ask you a question. Does this sound at all familiar? Has this happened to you? Over on the right there is More Clients, More Money, More Fun, which was my first book, the first book that I wrote, the first book I released. And when I did it, I put it on Amazon and absolutely nothing happened. Why was that? Well, for a very simple reason, because I didn't do anything with it. I'd bought into this idea that if I put it on Amazon, people would find it, people would buy it, people would get in touch with me. Of course, I didn't structure the book to make that happen, and I didn't tell people how they could get in touch with me. I didn't tell them how they could work with me. I had no way of knowing who'd bought the book, and I had no way of following up with them. And so you could get it on Amazon, and that was it. I basically was in the position of having to hope and pray that people would find it. And of course they didn't. And if that's happened to you, then you can empathize with that. And here's why it happens. Here's the problem. You see, Amazon on the one hand is fantastic because it's democratized book publishing. It used to be that book publishing was run by gray-haired old men in tweed jackets with leather arm patches. And if you wanted to get your book published, you had to go through a string of those people, whether they were your agent or your publisher or the buyers in the bookstores. And you basically had no hope of getting a book into retail channels unless you were inside that world already. Amazon has completely changed that. And almost anybody can write and publish a book now. And so that's the solution, but it's also the problem because almost anybody does write and publish a book now. And in fact, there's a new book on Amazon every 5 minutes, according to some sources. And other sources say that there is as many as 5,000 new books a day published in the US alone. And that's print books. That's not taking into account Kindle and other ebook formats. So with all of that going on, you've got to ask yourself, why would anyone even notice your book when you write it and you release it? Thing is, it doesn't have to be that way. So I'm going to encourage you to think about your books in a new way. And it's not about royalties. It's about reach. It's about impact. It's about attention. And most importantly, as I keep saying, it's about income. So let's think about why you wrote your book in the first place. Now, some people write it for vanity. They want to have their name on a book, they want to get it out there, and they just want to be known as an author. And that's a perfectly valid reason. Another reason is to get it, whatever your it is, whatever it is that you know, whatever it is that you do, to get it out of your head and put it into paper. Another one is simply to get your message out into the world. You want people to hear your message. You want them to be changed by it. You want them to change their life or their business, their relationship, whatever it is, because of your message. Another one, of course, and it's a really important one, is building reputation, building position, being an authority in your industry. And of course, getting new clients and making money. So those are all the reasons why people write a book. The thing is, though, nobody knows who you are. They don't know what you know. They don't know why you're important. They don't even know that you're an expert. And so you need to set yourself up to be the natural expert, the go-to authority in your niche, the person that everybody wants to work with, whatever it takes, whatever it costs, and regardless of your competition. You need to set yourself up to make money as an author, an expert, a speaker, a consultant, and a coach. To be attractive to the media, to television, radio, magazines, newspapers, and to have products that can be sold online and offline and as part of your platform. And in relation to that, the big challenges that are facing you are, first of all, how do you build a platform? Especially if you're currently unknown, but even if you're already known, how do you build a platform around the book? How do you use your book proactively to build credibility and authority, especially if this is the first time that someone has come across you? You know, reading your book is the first time they've heard of you. How do you turn your book into a bestseller, even if there are so many competing books? Because remember, I said as many as 5,000 books a day being published. And using your book to build a list and to generate leads, even when your book is being sold through retail channels. Because the problem we face is when your book is on Amazon and someone buys it, Amazon isn't going to tell you who that person was. And finally, how do you monetize your platform and your book to make cash even while you sleep? So that's the challenges you're facing, and that's the challenges we're going to address in this webinar. And to do it, I've created 6 of what I call author expert profit strategies, and I'd like to share those with you today, because these are the step-by-step actions that you need to take in your business to use your book proactively to grow it. And the first one of those is your message, getting very clear about that, building your position as an authority, building a relationship with your market, with your tribe, with your list, however you want to describe them, and then reaching out to influencers, to thought leaders, to community leaders, and using that outreach to get yourself in front of their audiences. Another critical one is, how do we build momentum around our book? Because most of the time, the reason people aren't getting any kind of traction with their book is because there's no momentum. There's like sitting in a car and not putting your foot on the gas pedal. You wonder why you're not going anywhere. It's because you're not doing anything to move the car forwards. And finally, what I want to share with you is what I call the B2B income multipliers. Now, that's not B2B as in business to business. It's book to business, as in how do I take that book and turn it into a business or into a core part of my business? So let's look at the first of those, which is your message. Your message matters. And your message consists of your promise. What is it that the book says people will get from reading it? Your title, your blurb, everything on your Amazon sales page, your author profile, whether it's Author Central or on your own website, your media presence, and even writing questions that will be used by interviewers when they interview you, and the endorsements that you have. And everything about your message adds up to people wanting to read your book. And a large amount of that message has to be about connecting emotionally. So this is, for example, the back of one of my books, Premium, which is all about how you raise your value in the marketplace, how you raise your fees, and how you get people to pay you more than the going rate. And there's a line on the back page of that book, the back cover. What difference would it make to you, to your family and your staff, if you were able to double your fees or more? And if doing so actually meant you got more clients rather than fewer? That's a message that connects emotionally with a lot of professionals. You can also make your message a little bit outrageous. This is the same book, Premium, and it's what we call a sell sheet. You can see there, what can cheap wine and boiled cat poop teach you about pricing? Because there's a passage in that book where I talk about those things. You can also see up in the top right there, we've taken a very powerful testimonial, a very powerful review. The single best book on business positioning, business models, and marketing I've read. That was from an Amazon reviewer who emailed me actually to tell me that he'd left that review for me and ended up becoming a client. Perfect timing for me finding this book. As a consultant, one of my bigger issues is not charging premium prices for the premium service I provide to all my clients. I need to reread this book a few times so it becomes a natural concept for me. So I've taken the key points of people's reviews and highlighted them in this sheet. And then there's compelling headlines. If you're charging market rates, you're letting your competitors tell you what to charge. And this book will help you too. And then the promises of the book. So what we're doing is taking the message that is spread over 100, 200, 300 pages, however long your book is, and boiling it down into a core message that makes people want to read the book and makes people want to act on it. And the bio at the bottom there is also part of that message. Why should people listen to you rather than to anybody else? So that's the kind of thing that we teach our clients to do, is how do we create these core messages and turn them into the blurb on Amazon, the back cover blurb, the profiles that you're creating. So the second thing I said was important was authority positioning, because if there are 5,000 new books a day, the only way to stand out then becomes to be a #1 bestseller. Now that's something that we do regularly for our clients. This is Carolyn Swarer, and she wrote a book on business culture. Well, if you've been to any of the big bookstores, you know there are a lot of books on corporate culture. So how do you make that book stand out? Well, by becoming a #1 best-selling author in relevant categories on Amazon. And so this is, as I said, something that we do for our clients all of the time, and something that we teach our clients to do. Now, authority, being a #1 best-selling author, gets you noticed. So this is Angela Sunis, another of our clients. She's actually written 3 books with us. She's a 3-time international #1 best-selling author. And as a result of her books, she was approached by a TV documentary production company who wanted to take her first book and turn it into a documentary. It's a very personal tale about bringing up a child with emotional challenges. And somebody had found this book because it was a bestseller and saw the potential immediately to make it into a very compelling TV documentary. Being a bestseller also makes you money, of course. So this is Vanessa Ugatti, another of our clients, and as a result of her book being a bestseller, she was contacted by a major financial paper from another country that offered to fly her out to be a speaker at their conference, their national finance conference. She's also had interviews in the press and in the radio. She's invited regularly to speak at conferences around the country. And here's the most important bit, of course. The average client value in her business has increased by a factor of 10. So I don't know what a client is worth to you right now in your business, but imagine adding a 0 to that number. What would that do to your revenue? What would it do to your lifestyle? Next thing I said you need to do is to build relationships. This is really important. People ultimately buy from people. So a lot of businesses make the mistake of assuming that people buy from companies. They don't. People buy from people. But more importantly, they only buy from people they know, like, and trust. In other words, there's got to be some kind of ongoing relationship. The only time when people don't buy based on know, like, and trust is when something is so dirt cheap that if it all went wrong, it wouldn't matter. Now, I don't know anything about your business, but I'm hoping that you're not in that kind of business. You're in a business where if people make the wrong choice, it can be a huge problem for them, and you're the right choice. And you've just got to let them know that, and that means you've got to build a relationship with them. So for that, you need an emotional connection, which builds up over time. And you need to have at least 7 contacts. So that's the one piece of research that you'll see very often, is that people typically take at least 7 contacts with someone before they'll buy from them. And depending on the industry, it may be as many as 22 or more. In other words, people have got to be in contact with you at least 7 times, probably 22, before they'll actually buy from you. So how do you build that relationship? Well, you've got to build a list. So you can use your book to build cold leads, and the way to do that is by giving it away to people. You can build it from warm leads, And that is by letting someone else sell the book, like Amazon, but having irresistible offers in the book. And you can use it to build a list of hot leads by getting people to buy something up front. So one of the key ways that we do that with our clients is what we call a free plus shipping. In other words, people have paid for the book. Even though they've got a free book, they've paid for shipping on the book. And they've entered your list as someone who's already said they're interested enough in what you know and what you do to want to pay for the information. But building a list isn't enough. You've then got to engage the list. So you've got to write email sequences that keep people in contact with you. And another way that's becoming increasingly important now is live video. So actually sitting down on a regular basis in front of your computer and letting people see you. And Facebook has made that so easy these days. So let's look at how you build your list by giving it away. And this is my sales coach, Eric Lofholm. And obviously on his website, as you can see, he gives away his best-selling book, The System, for free. But also, one of the ways that he does it is like this. He actually posted on Facebook, I'm giving away my best-selling book on sales scripting until midnight tonight. You'll get a PDF copy of the book, and he gave them instructions on how to get the book. And at the end of the day, he put a notice up there. He'd added 200 people to his list by simply offering the book on Facebook. So if you've got an audience already on Facebook, one of the ways that you can transfer them from your Facebook into your mailing list is using your book by offering them a free copy of the book. So that's cold leads. Warm leads, as I said, you get by putting a strong call to action into your book. This is one of our clients, Colin Mills. And inside the book, his book, he has a number of calls to action, but one of them is for what he calls the F score. And we'll talk about the power of assessments and quizzes later. But so he has a call to action to invite you to assess the strength of your business by going to this website. Thanks to his book and that call to action, Colin is adding 14 new clients every month. Now again, I don't know what a client is worth to you. In his case, clients are incredibly high value. This is a very high value, high-end service. Those 14 new clients every month add up to $19 million of revenue every year as a result of the calls to action in his book. Now, I talked about the free plus shipping offer. A buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Now, Russell Brunson is someone you've probably heard of. He's not my client at the moment. I would love him to be my client. But he is a great example of using a free plus shipping offer. It's actually the free plus shipping campaign that he created is in one of our clients' books, which I'll tell you about later. But he turned giving away a free book into over $1.5 million in sales. And that was actually during the launch. He's been running the offer since then, and I don't know what the updated figures are, but I assume that it's made an awful lot more money in the year or so since it was first released. So a free plus shipping offer is a great way to get people to hold up their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in what you do. And then as soon as someone has bought, you've got the opportunity then to make them further offers. So I said outreach is critical. And this is from the point of view of both outreach to potential clients and outreach to influencers. Because as I discovered with my first book, if you wait for people to find your book and you just sit back and hope, then you're going to die of hunger before they do. So here's one of our clients, Frank. Frank Butler runs a company called Chef in a Box. Now, his book is Wake Up to the Great British Breakfast Scandal. It's actually a very short book, and it was written for a very specific purpose. And what Chef in a Box does is they help hotel chains with a very specific problem that they have, which is what do they do with people who can't sit in the dining room for breakfast. Now, he used his book. He actually sent it out to we created a campaign where he sent it out as a direct response campaign to key targets in that industry. And as a result of that, Well, first of all, he got 39 sales meetings in the height of summer, which is the busy season for hotels, from a cold approach. So he hadn't been in touch with these people before. He also got a further 6 leads that were with major hotel chains that were worth $1 million between them. Now, one of the big things was when he sent the book, he started getting contacts from gatekeepers saying, unfortunately, you've sent it to the wrong person, but I forwarded it to someone else who should have had it. Now, think about that from your own business's point of view. When was the last time that you sent out a sales brochure or a sales letter and had a gatekeeper call you back or email you back and say, hey, you sent this to the wrong person, but I'm forwarding it to the person who should have got it? It doesn't happen. With a book, it does happen if you build it into a campaign that's properly structured. The biggest result that Frank Butler got was a major target that they'd been chasing for 3 years, a company that hadn't bothered to call them back, hadn't emailed back, hadn't taken their messages, called them back. The result of all of this, their average client value went up from $5,000 a year to $180,000 a year. Now, again, I don't know what your business is and I don't know what a client is worth to you, but imagine multiplying the value of a client by a factor of 36. And sales meetings got easier, as I'll explain in a little while. A critical part of all of this is building momentum around your book. As I said, that's one of the big mistakes people make, is they don't have any momentum. They don't have any energy behind their book. They just write it and they publish it and they think, great, now what? You've got to get the book moving and you've got to keep it moving. You've got to recruit an army of raving fans. So one of the things that we teach our clients to do is to build a launch team and to get reviews in advance if they can, so that when it finally launches onto Amazon, it's already got momentum going. That momentum, the reason why it works is because it builds engagement and it builds excitement. So Angela and Carolyn, who I talked about before, they both spent months getting their audience excited about the book, showing them different stages of production. When the first manuscript arrived, when the cover designs were available, when we were discussing possible titles for the book. Getting people involved, getting people contributing, getting people talking about the book and sharing it is critical to building this momentum. And when you can do that, you're going to sell more books. And in this industry, selling more books means getting more clients. It also means that you'll get noticed faster, because if everybody is already talking about your book when you release it, then influencers and media and everybody else is going to stand up and pay attention to the book when it finally arrives. So this momentum is critical. So with Carolyn, as I said, she'd spent a couple of months leading up to the launch of the book, following what we call our book launch playbook. And the result was that by the time she got to lunchtime on the day of her launch, the book was already a #1 bestseller. And she started getting approaches from the media within a week of that launch. This is another of our clients, Bill Glazer. Now, you may have heard of Bill. He is the founder and past president of Glazer Kennedy Insider Circle. One of the best known names in the world in direct marketing. And we helped him to create and launch his book, Outrageous Multi-Step Marketing Campaigns. And actually, when I spoke about Russell Brunson, I said he was featured in one of our other clients' books. This is the book he's featured in. His campaign is actually in this book. So we helped Bill to build his launch team. And by the end of the launch week, over 1,200 copies had been sold at full price. So a lot of the time, launches are one of the ways you can build momentum in your launches by selling it at a very low price. This book was being sold at full price, $25 a copy. And 1,200 copies sold at full price by the end of the launch week, in a world where, to put that in context, a typical non-fiction book will sell just 250 copies a year. And here's the most important point. The book wasn't even listed on Amazon at that stage. So this is all off Amazon sales, private sales, done through the launch team that we helped him to build. Another thing that really helps is if you can get momentum before you need it. So one of the strategies that we'll sometimes talk about with our clients, and one that I suggest to people, is to pre-launch the book. So you actually launch it before it's ready. And you can do it on KDP. And we also have a way to do it with a print book. And normally, only major publishers are able to get their books listed on Amazon before it's available. There are strategies we can use that will help you to get your print book listed on Amazon before it's available as well, and make it available for sale and pre-order. Now, the advantage of doing that is with print books, the day it launches, all of those pre-orders add up and become a sales order on that day, which helps it to become a bestseller. So that's my book there, Just Sign Here. It's a book in which I explain a very specific step-by-step process for running what people call strategy calls or initial consultations, and using them as a sales conversation that closes the customer at the end of it. Now, as it says there, Just Sign Here was a bestseller before it had even been published. So we released it on Amazon, and it wasn't released until, we listed it on Amazon. It wasn't released until 3 months later. It was already a bestseller at that point. I used it to get clients within days of its release as a result of the momentum that had built up in that time. And because that momentum was there at launch, and using a few other techniques that I teach our clients, like Amazon advertising, it stayed in the top 3 in its category for over 2.5 years. And it's still there. I checked last night and it was still there. Now, a lot of the time, bestsellers are launched and they disappear. That's been there for 2.5 years and it's still going strong. So hopefully you're finding this useful and exciting and interesting. The next thing I want to talk to you about is our book-to-business income multipliers. And these are very specific actions that you can take to make your book bring in more clients, bring in more cash. The first one is to use your book to sell in advance. I'm not talking here about selling your book in advance as in the pre-orders before launch. I mean actually sending out your book to people with whom you have a sales meeting. And I was exposed to the power of this by a client who'd approached me, and I was invited to a sales meeting. We'd had one conversation on the phone, and I was invited to their office to pitch. And I went along expecting to do a typical sales pitch. But when I walked in, I noticed that everybody around the boardroom table had a copy of that book there, Secrets of a Six-Figure Expert, which is my second book. They had it in front of them. And as I walked in, the CEO said, "We've all read a copy of your book, and we want you to turn us into the natural expert in our industry." The natural expert was, I actually introduced the term in that book and explained how to become the natural expert. So when he said that, when I saw that everybody had read the book, and he said, "We want you to turn us into the natural expert in our industry," I knew that it wasn't a sales meeting. It was a kickoff meeting. We just hadn't agreed fees at that point. And as it happened, it was a $38,000 client. And effectively, I closed it before I walked into the room because they'd already read my book. Now, at that stage, that was just an accident. In our first call, I'd mentioned the book. The CEO had gone away, found it, bought copies for his team. But I got to thinking, well, why wait for them to find it? So what I tell my clients to do is every time you've got a sales meeting coming up, send the person you're going to be meeting a copy of your book before you get there. Particularly if you've written your book to address the key objections that people have or to answer the main questions that they've got. Because if you do that, then when you go into the meeting, the conversation is a lot smoother because they've already got all of their doubts and questions answered. And in fact, the client learned that lesson very well. The client in question was actually Frank. And a few months after releasing his book, we were talking and I said, "How are things going?" He said, "It's fantastic." When I'm in a sales meeting and someone brings up an objection, I can say to them, I think I answered that in chapter 7, or I think you'll find what you're looking for on page 57 or whatever. So he was able to overcome the questions and the objections almost instantly, because then at that point they go, "Oh yes, you're right. Yes, I got that." So profit strategy number 2 is find a way to turn your book into a score. In other words, turn it into an assessment or a quiz. If you look at, if you go down to wherever it is that they sell magazines near you, you'll see Cosmopolitan magazine. Pretty much every copy of Cosmopolitan magazine has a quiz in it that asks you to assess some aspect of your personality or some aspect of your life. And those are there because those quizzes, those assessments help Cosmopolitan to sell millions of copies of their magazine. On Facebook, quizzes and quizzes that ask you to identify which Avenger you are, which member of the Friends cast you are, or whatever, they're among the most shared content on Facebook. They easily go viral. So if you can turn your book into a quiz, it's one way of making your book go viral. And so that's exactly what Colin Mills does in Scale Up. He's got this assessment called the F-score, which basically takes the client through a series of questions that evaluate them against ideas in the Scale Up book. But the most important thing to note is the questions are structured so that effectively they are qualifying questions. In other words, it's the first half of a sales meeting again. So if you can use your quiz to find out whether or not the person taking the quiz is an ideal client for you, you know exactly how to deal with them when you finally get in front of them. So that's another way that you can use your book, is by taking the reader from the book to a quiz into a sales meeting and using that quiz to pre-qualify them and to pre-sell them. Strategy number 3 is to use your book to earn affiliate income. There are companies that will pay you to send them business. Now, obviously, your book is primarily a sales tool for you. But in any book, the chances are you're going to be referring to other people's products, services, or just other books. That's my book there, Authority, How Experts Just Like You Are Using Authority Books to Grow Their Influence, Generate Leads, and Steal Your Clients. In it, I talk about many different ways to grow your business using your book. And I refer to a lot of the psychology behind it. And I do that by referring to other people's books. People whose books I've read, and they gave me ideas. And so I thought to myself, well, why not make money from that? So here's what you do. You sign up, first of all, to be an Amazon associate. That's what Amazon calls its affiliates. So you go, if you're in the US, you go to Amazon, affiliate-program.amazon.com. There are equivalent sites for .co.uk, .co.jp, and all the other countries. And even if whatever country you're in, you can actually sign up for multiple countries of Amazon. Then you use a service called booklinker.net, which is actually free. And booklinker.net is fantastic because what it will do is you give it a raw Amazon book link. And it will and you tell it what your affiliate ID is for all these different countries that you're in. And what it will do is when someone clicks on the link that they give you, they'll give you a link. When someone clicks on that, it figures out where in the world they are and it converts it into an Amazon link for the correct country for where they are. And if you happen to have told it that you're an Amazon affiliate in that country, it will turn it into an affiliate link so that you get commission. If you're not, then it just creates a simple link. Your readers will love that because they don't have to figure out how to get to the book in their country. The site is doing it. You don't have to put 20 different links in your book. And you're getting 4% every time someone buys the book that you've linked to. And I actually use that for my own book. So in my email signature, I have a link back to my own books. And they're all created using booklinker.net, which means that if somebody gets an email from me, clicks through, buys the book, I get 4% on top of what Amazon is paying me for the fact that somebody bought my book. So I've taken a 4% pay increase. And that happens on any book or product that you recommend in your book. So if you're recommending other people's books, for one thing, you're doing them a great favor. You're sending them readers, but also you're getting a little bit of benefit on the back of it. Now, the wonderful thing about this is when somebody clicks on that link, it sets up a new, what Amazon calls a buying session. And you actually get a percentage of whatever anybody buys on the same visit. Now, it's not the same percentage. For one thing, it depends on what category they're doing, but also Amazon goes, well, you sent them to that product. They didn't buy that product, but they bought something else. And they give you a slightly smaller percentage. And the reason I've got batteries, bath salts, and cat litter in there is because those are all things that people have bought after buying one of my books. I don't know what it says about my readers, but they're all items that appeared on my affiliate report. So you can make money quite simply from your book without having to do anything. I don't have to go out and chase these people and sell them cat litter. There are people who are looking for cat litter anyway, but they bought one of my books, and then I get a few cents from it. Number 4 is getting your book in front of the right people. So again, this is Vanessa, I mentioned before. She's got an interesting strategy that she uses on LinkedIn, and she'll basically send people a message. And I can't remember the exact wording, but it's something along the lines of, I've got a book I think you'd be interested in. So she's reaching out to people who are her target client. So I have a book I think you'd be interested in. It's about how to make sure your fees reflect the value of what you do. Would you like a copy? If you would, just reply yes. And she waits. And if somebody replies yes, she'll send them a copy of the book. She will actually send them a physical copy. You could easily do that with a PDF or a Kindle version of your book. Number 5, another way of making money from Amazon. If your book does not have calls to action in it, you're missing out. But more importantly than that, you need to have a call to action right up front. And the reason is because Amazon has this feature called Look Inside. In other words, people can click on the book before they've bought it, and Amazon will give them a little sample. So what you do is you make sure that your call to action is in the earliest pages of your book, so that when they get the free sample, they get your call to action. So for example, that's the call to action for my book Premium. And you can see I offered some high value gifts, premium pricing secrets, a never before available live recording in front of members of a $20,000 mastermind group, in which Rob shares his deepest, darkest secrets on how to charge more for what you know, an MP3 download of that whole event, and the entire slide deck of that event. That was the gift for that book. The reason why is because I want people to go to that web address, premiumpricingbook.com, and register the book. So then, even if they haven't got the book, I know that they were at least interested in the topic and interested enough, 1, to go to the Amazon sales page, 2, to click on the Look Inside. And of course, what happens is people see that and they go, oh, what an idiot. He put his free offer right up front so I can get it without buying the book. And they go and get it. You know what? I'm not interested in whether they buy the book. I'm interested in whether they want to know more about pricing their services at a premium. So it's more valuable to me to get their contact details than if they were to look at the book and click away and not buy it and not register. Strategy number 6 is to create a low-cost upsell. So if somebody has bought your book or registered your book, you gave them a free copy, but then they go back to your website, follow the call to action, and take that action. What you want is to have some kind of low risk next step for them. And this is an easy way to convert them. Now, there's three great ways of doing that. One is a book study group. Another one is a challenge. Another one is a membership. There are actually three things that I taught the members of my Author Expert Insiders Mastermind to create for their books. So we actually spent a whole day together planning out what their upsell would be. So I've got some examples there. So you've got the 14-day Facebook marketing challenge. So taking the content of your book and turning it into actions that people can take day by day is a really great way of getting people engaged with the content of your book and consuming it and acting on it. And book study groups. This is actually something, the book study group, I had not heard of this until I bought a copy of Darla Ledoux's book, Retreat and Grow Rich. And on the next page, she had an upsell for a book study group. And effectively, it's a short group coaching program that takes the content of the book, you get people to read your book over the period of that group and to act on it. And of course, at the end, you're then leading them into another higher end offer. So it's a really easy way of getting people engaging with you, engaging with your content. And of course, membership programs, that's just where you've got somebody joining a program where they're paying you a monthly subscription for you to provide a service or your knowledge or whatever month by month. And the math behind this is compelling and it's irresistible, because let's say that you run a $97 challenge or a book group. If you get 50 members, that's $4,850 of instant revenue. And if you've done the book through a timed book launch, then that all comes in one go at the time of the launch of the book. By a similar token, if you get 50 people into a group that's paying you $47 a month, that's $2,350 a month. That's an extra $28,200 a year. And effectively what these people are doing is they are paying to be your leads. So you really need to get behind this and create these low-cost upsells. So let's just recap the Author Expert profit strategies. So number one, I said, use your book to sell in advance. Even if it means sending it to the person you're going to have a sales meeting with before the sales meeting. Number two, turning your book into a score, into some kind of quiz or assessment. And that was the strategy that Colin used to make an extra $19 million using his book. Number three, earning affiliate income. So using affiliate links inside your book and also using affiliate links to send people to your book on Amazon. Number four, finding ways to get your book in front of the right people, like the LinkedIn strategy that I described. And there are other ways that we can do that, both online and offline. Number five is getting the most out of Amazon by making sure that you've got your call to action in the book and that it's early enough that when someone visits the page on Amazon and they look at the Look Inside feature, they'll actually register. Number six was creating a low-cost upsell, which to me is the easiest way of making money with your book, is to create a challenge, to create a book group, to create a membership site. And in a moment, I'm going to share with you a seventh strategy, which is the bonus, which is how I made $16,000 over lunch at someone else's conference using my book. Now, hopefully, as I say, you're finding this useful, you're finding this interesting, you're finding this valuable, and you're starting to get this. So what I want to do before I share strategy number 7 with you is I just want to take a couple of moments of your time to share a little bit more about the program that I've mentioned a couple of times in this webinar, which is the Author Expert Insiders Mastermind. So what we do on the Author Expert Insiders Mastermind is we get together twice a month on a Wednesday for live online meetings. And they're about 90 minutes. Sometimes they run a little bit longer, sometimes they run a little bit shorter, but typically it's about 90 minutes. One of those meetings each month is a hot seat coaching call where you get to dial in and ask your questions. And if you have a particular business challenge that you're facing and you need help with, you can draw on my expertise, you can draw on the expertise and the experience of other people in the group. And the other session is a training session where each month I take you through some form of marketing campaign, some way of using your book to grow your business. And I'll give you some examples of what we've done in the past in a moment. Once a quarter, we also get together for what I will euphemistically call our Get Stuff Done days. Now, these are more in-depth. So, for example, one of our Get Stuff Done days was used to build out the 3 core funnels that every author expert should have, including the free plus shipping funnel. So what I did was I shared with everybody an actual model of the free plus shipping funnel that they could copy. And basically all they had to do was paste in their picture, their book cover instead of my book cover, paste in their text, paste in their offers, and it's ready to run. Everybody who's in Author Expert Insiders gets access to that because we've run it in the past. You have access to past sessions, so you get access to things like that. So that's one of our quarterly Get Stuff Done days. Another one is sitting down and, as I said, planning out the 3 low-cost offers. So sitting down and planning out what was going to be planning out a challenge, a group book study, and a membership program, and then taking that away, and then you've got everything you need to know in order to actually build that and make it happen and start promoting it. So that's the kind of things that we do on our Get Stuff Done days. There's also a supportive online community. So in between those calls, you can jump onto Facebook, ask questions, and I monitor the group and I answer the questions, and other members of the community monitor it as well. Everybody who is in the group gets a private one-on-one mentoring and coaching call with me once a quarter. And as I said, all of the past sessions are recorded and everybody gets access to them. So as soon as you join the Author Expert Insiders Mastermind, you've got access to everything that's happened in the past. So things you get access to are things like mastering your message. So remember, we started by saying you have to get your message absolutely clear. Well, we had a whole session on that. We had one on creating joint ventures and getting other people to help you promote your book and your services. The Author Expert Referral Machine. So using your book to get referral clients. So a book makes it really easy to ask someone to make a referral, because all you've got to basically say to them is, would you mind giving somebody a copy of my book? Which is a lot easier than would you mind telling people that they need my services. We had a whole session on building email marketing campaigns. So building those follow-up sequences so that you make that regular contact with your prospects once they've read your book. Taming Amazon, which was all about using ads, which is one of the things that I've used to maintain momentum on my book, as I said. The 3 online funnels every author expert needs. As I said, that includes the free plus shipping, and it includes getting the model that you can just click on, import it into ClickFunnels. I recommend everybody gets ClickFunnels, and one of the things I show people is how to get ClickFunnels for a much lower price than the normal price. So basically you can just import it, customize it by adding your own images and texts, and you're ready to run. Creating your low-end product suite, and a lot more. There's a lot in there. So just to recap, here's what you get. 2 live 90-minute meetings every month. They're on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I chose that time because it works well for people in Pacific time. It works well for people in Europe, where some of our clients are. And it works well even, it does mean people have to stay up late or get up early over the far side in Australia, New Zealand, and China, and so on. Hot seat coaching, so you'll have the opportunity to draw on the collective wisdom and experience of everyone in the group and on me, and get answers to your most challenging business, success, and lifestyle questions. You get powerful training and guest speakers. So all content, no pitch, none of these sessions are, there's nothing being sold in these. Topics like face-to-face selling, product creation, getting booked as a speaker, social media marketing, video marketing, getting in the media, and more. All the sessions are available on demand 24/7 online. So whatever device you're using and wherever you happen to be in the world, you wake up, you've got a sleepless night, you can watch one of the sessions. As I say, every quarter you get a session with me to help you advance your business and to make sure that you're getting the most out of the program. There's the Private Author Expert Insiders Facebook group, so you can connect with other members of the program and get answers from me and from the community. And as a bonus, when you join the program, you get an extra private coaching call with me so that we get you set up and we make sure that you're going to get value from being in the program. The price is normally $500 a month, but your special price today for being on this webinar, as my thank you to you, is $200 a month. That's a 60% saving. And as I say, it includes access to the past sessions. So if you want to join, if you know this is right for you, and you can see immediately the value of having your funnels ready to import and ready to run, of finally getting your email follow-up sequences written, which are often a problem for people, of being able to get feedback on your calls to action, on building a quiz, which is going to be one of the future sessions that we're going to run in the next couple of months, building a quiz around your book, and building high-end offers. The kind of things that I talk about in my book Premium are things like VIP days at $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. And one of our sessions will be, how do I build that? So if you know that that's absolutely what you need for your business because you've got your book and you don't know how to turn it into clients, then visit www.howexpertsgetclients.com and sign up for the Author Experts Insider Mastermind. Now, obviously, there have to be bonuses because this is how it works. So here's what I've got for you. If you buy today, as my thank you for being on this webinar. First of all, I mentioned that one of the key things that helped Carolyn Swarer to get her book to bestseller status by lunchtime was not that she didn't just follow our bestseller launch process, but she was also following the book launch playbook. And that basically gave her 31 activities that she could do alongside everything that we were doing. So this is stuff that you do alongside the normal promotion of the book. So this is we basically walk you through building your launch team and building that momentum and building that excitement. And it's not sold anywhere else. At the moment, I can't say what I'll do in the future, but at the moment, I have not made it available anywhere for purchase. If I did, it would probably be $197, if not more. There's also training that I created called How to Create a Signature System. One of the things that you've absolutely got to do if you're going to create programs and products is to turn what you do into a signature system. Now, you may already have done that as part of writing your book, but if you haven't, then I've got a training which isn't normally available on its own. It's actually part of a much broader product called the Instant Power Day Profits. And Instant Power Day Profits is a $500 product. If I were to sell How to Create a Signature System on its own, again, it would probably be around the $197 mark. So that's absolutely essential, how to create a signature system. I'll also give you a copy of my Success Library of Bestsellers. So the books that I've been talking about, if you were to buy them, the total value would be $69. So you get a copy of Premium, which teaches you how to increase your value and increase your rates. Authority, which is all about how to use your book to get clients. Just Sign Here, which is about how to run those introductory consultations and strategy sessions and sales meetings. It's actually scripted out. More Clients, More Money, More Fun, which it was my first book on how to create a profitable expert business, and Secrets of a Six-Figure Expert. And finally, 16 ways to grow your business with a book. Simple secrets to stand out from the competition, get more leads, close more deals, and charge higher fees. So that's the bonuses if you buy today. But I want to make it even better for you, because if you will invest up front and you know absolutely that this is right for you, then you can pay for 12 months in full, and it'll be $2,000, which is a $4,000 saving compared to the price of buying of $500 a month, 12 months. If you do that, if you invest in me, I'm going to invest in you, and I'm going to give you 12 months of unlimited laser coaching. That means that any time in those 12 months, you can jump on using a special link I'll give you and request 15 minutes with me. And in that time, you will bring a specific question or challenge you've got. I will give you the answer live on camera, and I'll set you up with a task to do. So it's about getting you to take action each time. It's about maintaining momentum, not just for the book, but also in your business. So if you want 12 months of unlimited laser coaching, and to give you an idea, if you were to book a power day with me, which is a one-off and you get a fixed amount of time, that would be $10,000. 12 months of unlimited laser coaching is priceless. Again, you can do it at the same place, www.howexpertsgetclients.com. Go there and just pick the pay in full for the year option. And as I say, you'll only pay $2,000, which means effectively you get 2 months free compared to paying it month by month. But more importantly, it's $4,000 saving against the normal investment of $500 a month. So let's recap. You're getting 2 live 90-minute meetings each month with the group. That includes the hot seat coaching and the powerful training. You've got on-demand replays of every session we run in the future. You've got private laser coaching with me, private access to the Author Expert Insiders Facebook group, instant access to the past sessions that we've run, private coaching call with me when you first join, just to make sure that you get the best out of the program, the book launch playbook, which is a $197 value, the how to create your signature system, another $197 value, and my Author Expert Success Library of Bestsellers, a $69 value, all for $200 a month. And you know what? There's no commitment. If you decide at the end of the first month that it's not for you, we part as friends. I'm not going to tie you in. But if you know absolutely that this is what you need, then you do yourself a favor and pay in full for the 12 months. You'll get it for $2,000, and you'll get 12 months of unlimited laser coaching with me. It's www.howexpertsgetclients.com. And I want to take away all the risk. So whether you join on the $200 a month program or you pay up front the $2,000 for the year, take the first month, the first 30 days, go through, watch the past sessions, enjoy the bonuses, and you'll get to keep them, whatever happens. If you decide it's not for you, I don't want to keep your money. So if in those first 30 days you look at it and you think, you know what, this isn't right for me, fine, I will refund you. No questions asked. I want you to be absolutely happy, 100% satisfied with your investment. So back to the bonus strategy. I said I wanted to share with you a 7th strategy. This is how I made $16,000 over lunch at someone else's conference using my book. If you're anything like me, now that you've got your book, you take it everywhere with you. I go to events and I'll have in my case, copies of at least one, if not several of my books. And in particular, the little lead gen books. Like at the time when this happened, my lead generation book was Secrets of a Six-Figure Expert. I was sitting at a conference watching the speaker, and somebody came and sat down next to me, and she started a conversation with me. And she said, "Oh, what do you do?" And of course, I was watching the presenter, so I didn't want to be rude and start a conversation. So I just said, "Well, look, I've written a book about what I do. Let me give you a copy." She took it, and she went away. A little bit later, we had lunch. At the end of the lunch break, she came back to me and she said, "You know what? I read your book over the lunch break. It's exactly what I need. How can I work with you?" So I followed up with her built that relationship. She turned into a $16,000 client just from making sure that I had my book and I was in the right environment and I wasn't afraid to hand it over to someone who was my ideal client. So that's the strategy. And I hope that, like all the other strategies in this presentation, you found it interesting and valuable. And above all, I hope that you found it exciting, because one of the things that I find inevitably is I meet people who publish their book or who are almost at the point of publishing it, and they've lost the excitement because they're not getting the results that they wanted, or they can't see how they're going to get those results. I hope that what I've shared with you shows you that you can get those results. You can get the attention from the media. You can get the new clients. You can get people approaching you and asking to work with you. And if you do know that this is absolutely what you need, then I'm going to invite you to join the Author Expert Insiders Mastermind. So let's recap what you get when you join. First of all, there's the 2 live 90-minute meetings each month. So that's the hot seat coaching, where you can bring your thorniest, most horrible business challenge and get my support and the group's support and advice and share our experience to help you get through it. There's the training every month, where we take you through some specific action that you can take that month to grow your business. There's also the quarterly Get Stuff Done days, where we go into something in more depth, like building out your book study group or your challenge and getting clients into it, or building your funnels. And as I said, I share the actual funnels so that all you've got to do is put your words and your pictures in and you're ready to run. There's on-demand replay, so if for any reason you have to miss a session, but you can't make it because you're busy and you've got clients, it doesn't matter. You can watch it anytime you want. You've got access to the Author Expert Insiders Facebook group, so between calls you can get access to me and ask questions and ask the members of the group for feedback. You know, you've got an idea for a call to action, run it past us, see what we think. You've got laser coaching with me every quarter just to make sure that you're staying on track. But also there's the private coaching call when you first join, just to make sure that it's right for you and that you're going to get the most out of the program. You also get instant access to every session that we've run in the past, which is priceless, because it means that you've got access to information that your competitors haven't got, and they'd have to work for months to get to this point. And you've got access to it immediately. You can start to implement it straight into your business. You've also got the bonuses, the book launch playbook. So one of the things that you can do actually is take a book that you've already got. So it doesn't matter if you're not releasing a new book, even if it's been out for a while, you can use the strategies in the book launch playbook to relaunch it and get that momentum going. So if you're looking at your book thinking, you know what, it's stalled, it doesn't matter. There's 21 strategies in there that you can use to get that momentum going again. You've also got the bonus training, how to create your signature system, and my Author Expert Success Library of bestsellers. And you can get that for only $200 a month. Or if you absolutely know that this is exactly what you need and you're willing to invest up front in the program, I'll invest in you. So if you pay for the 12 months for $2,000, I will give you 12 months unlimited laser coaching with me. All you need to do is to visit www.howexpertsgetclients.com, and it's all backed by my 30-day 100% satisfaction risk-free guarantee. I hope that the content I've shared with you today has been not just interesting, but valuable and actionable. That was my intention right from the start. I said I wanted to give you actionable strategies that you can implement into your business. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. My name is Rob Cuesta, and I look forward to meeting you inside the Author Expert Insiders Mastermind. Just head over to www.howexpertsgetclients.com to join now. Bye for now.